I think we're live. Hello, and welcome to Inside the Lines. It's just me this week, I'm sure you can tell. Sam is actually in Troy right now. He's covering a game that we'll get to later. It's going to be a good one. But yeah, we've got a lot of great football games tonight, and thanks for joining me. My name is Anna Sophia Meyer. I'm a sports reporter here for Tallapoosa Publishers. I'm based in Elmer County, and I will be previewing all of the football games for all of our teams in Tallapoosa and Elmer County tonight. So stick around and also shout out to our sponsor for the show, Dunning Roofing. Yeah, all right, let's get going. So our games of the week this week are in Tallapoosa County. It's Dadeville at Reeltown, and these two teams have played against each other for about 50 years now. They took 3 years off for this game, but they were back officially last year, and so this is the second meeting this year since the hiatus. It's going to be a good one. Reeltown won the game last year, I believe, and Reeltown is looking really, really great again this year. They're defending state champions, and they're already off to a rip-roaring start this year at 4-1, and they're coming off a huge win at against Lochapoka, 73-49, huge win. Lots of touchdowns, lots of scoring, obviously. Dadeville, on the other hand, they're coming off of a bye, but they did lose to Randolph County the week before that, 35-34. And, you know, the Tigers have really struggled this year to kind of get going on the offensive side and also just finish games. They've lost 2 games this year by 1 point, which is, you know, obviously heartbreaking for the Tigers. They lost to Elmer County at the very beginning of the season, and then they lost to someone else, and I can't remember. This is why Sam should be here, by the way. Anyway, so lost 2 games by 1 point this season, and the last time that Dadeville has beaten Reeltown was actually back in 2020. So it's been a long time of this rivalry, but Dadeville has really just not come out on top recently. You know, Reeltown has got Jamarcus Smith, and, you know, last year he threw 3 touchdowns and a win over Dadeville. Yeah, so it's going to be a good one. Reeltown should come out with the win, theoretically, but doesn't mean that the Tigers, don't count the Tigers out of it by any means. Okay, let's move over to Elmer County, and we'll talk about their game of the week. That is going to be Wetumpka at Eufaula. This is going to be a showdown, folks. The Indians are coming off of their first region win last week at Rehoboth, and they've got another really, really big game here at Eufaula. This is a reunion between 2 coaches, Jarrell Jernigan and Wetumpka coach Bear Woods. I believe they were teammates at Troy University, and they also were together in the NFL for a few years. Eufaula is 4-1 this season, and they've already beaten some really good teams in BTW and Montgomery Catholic this year. And last season the Indians did win this game, so they've got the advantage coming in. But, you know, obviously it's a really far road game. I believe it's like 2 hours. Eufaula is right on the border between Alabama and Georgia, and it's definitely going to be a tough one for them. Yeah, so this year, I believe Wetumpka has kind of struggled to just get into the end zone on the offensive side of the ball. They've done really, really, really well on defense. You know, Bear Woods being a former linebacker at Troy University, he's a really defensive-minded coach. But, you know, the Indians are putting up similar numbers to their opponents as far as offensive yards every single season, or every single game so far that I've seen. But that it just hasn't really been reflected on the scoreboard, even though, you know, their quarterback Charlie Skipper, who is our Elmer County Player of the Week this year, he's got like 1,150 yards on the season so far. He's leading in total passing yards. He's top 10 in the state. He's leading in total passing yards in all of Class 6A, which is huge. Yeah, and you know, even though he's a sophomore, he's been a leader. Or he's coming into his leadership role for the Indians. But the Indians are really mainly led by their seniors on the roster, which would be Walter Myrick at linebacker. He's one of the top 10 linebackers in the state right now. He's got probably like 70 tackles so far this season. Crazy number. He's averaging like 14 tackles a game, which is just wild. And also on offense, the Indians are being led by another sophomore, Jordan Hill, at running back. And Jordan Hill has also had a really great season this year. He's averaging about 90 yards a game and 1 touchdown, I believe. So yeah, but the challenge, there's not much reciprocal talent between these two teams. I would say, Eufaula, as far as skill players, has more talent in their quarterback, Jalen Wright. Wright has nearly 150 or 1,500 yards of offense this season, and he's a leader so far. Let me see. He is leading. Yeah. So about this matchup, Bear Woods said in order to win, the Indians have just got to be fundamentally sound, and he talked about those two guys, so their quarterback Wright and the running back Torian Slaughter, and he said that those guys are just as good as anybody they've seen this season, so they've got to be fundamentally sound and really stop them, really focus on the defensive side and stop them as much as they can. Eufaula is averaging a healthy, Wetumpka is averaging a healthy 27, almost 28 points this season, but I think they really need to blow that out of the water as far as offense in order to beat this season, because I'm not sure if they can fully rely on their defense to hold the Eufaula Tigers back at every single stop, but they've really got to be firing on all cylinders if they want to win this game in order to overcome, both on defense and on offense as well as special teams. So they really got to come out and play in order to win this game. Okay, so let's go to our first commercial break.
Hi, my name is Andrew McGreer. I'm the owner of Dunning Roofing. We serve an area from Birmingham to Montgomery to Auburn to Opelika and all the surrounding Lake Martin area. Well, we've been in business for 25 years almost, and we've been growing every year since then. Recently, we won an award by GAF, who's the largest manufacturer of shingles in the world, and we've achieved a Master Elite status. That Master Elite status is critical, not only for us as a company. Only 2% of roofers worldwide ever achieve this designation. We got it because we're exceptional. We look forward to helping you.
Life's daily battles are not meant to be fought alone.
We're not powerless, so long as we don't lose sight of what's important.
Don't be afraid to seize that moment to talk to your friends.
Cloud, you okay?
Because checking in on a friend can create a safe space.
The first step on our new journey. You coming?
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Seize the awkward. It's totally worth it.
Hey, okay, welcome back to Inside the Lines. My name is Anthony Meyer. I'm the sports reporter for Tallapoosa Publishers, based in Elmer County. I am in for Sam today. He is out in Troy, He's actually at the next game that I'm going to talk about, Benjamin Russell at Charles Henderson. This game is being played at Troy University right now. And this is going to be a fun one, guys. I'm sure about this. Last year was the first meeting between these two teams, and Benjamin Russell did win that one. And the Wildcats are right now 3-0, or at the top of their region right now, alongside Pelham. But this is a non-region game for them, like most of our AHSAA games. But on the other side of the ball, Charles Henderson is 3-2 this season, and they're coming off of a 35-21 loss to Montgomery Catholic. And Benjamin Russell is just a really, really solid team this year. They've done really, really well this season so far, especially with just the amount of talent that they have in their skill positions on the offensive side, especially BJ, I can't remember his last name, and also Cedarian Morgan, who are two of the best receivers in 6A and probably the state. Cedarian is a Alabama commit, and I believe BJ will probably commit to play D1 football later this season. So they've also got our Alex City Outlook Player of the Week on this team with Elijah Johnson. He's had 9 touchdowns in 5 games. He's second in 6A behind Stanhope Elmore's Demarion Barnes, actually. And last week he had 2 touchdowns and an interception to help Benjamin Russell overcome Spain Park in a really, really exciting game. BJ Bedgood, that's right. So last week, and so Charles Henderson has got a really, really good quarterback over there with Kellen Stewart. He's got about 800 passing yards this season and 8 touchdowns. So the Wildcats defense is really going to need to show out this week in order to get that win. But I think they're capable of it. And they've got Sam there as good luck charms, so that's always good. Okay, moving on to the next game, I'm going to talk about the Hopewell Bulldogs. The Hopewell Bulldogs are 2-2 this season so far, which I believe is about where they were at this point last season. Or I think maybe they've improved on one game. And so they're taking on a 1A school this week, Maplesville. But do not, just because Maplesville is 1A and Hopewell is 5A school, do not underestimate Maplesville. They're currently 5-0 this season, and they've absolutely demolished all of their 1A opponents so far. They're 3-0 in their region. I believe they're one of the top ranked 1A schools right now. And so the Bulldogs are really going to need to execute a solid game plan for this game in order to secure this win. Maplesville has a combination of their returning starting quarterback, Pierce Dearden, who is averaging about 136 yards a game and 1.5 passing touchdowns. And Maplesville is putting up an average of nearly 45 points on the board per game this season. And like I said before, they've just absolutely demolished all of the other opponents in their team, in their region, I mean. So for this game, I think Hopewell's really going to have to focus on the defensive side. I've seen, they've had a little bit of a consistency struggle up front on the line, especially I would say their defensive line. So they're coming back from a bye, so I think this game is really going to be a really telling outcome to see how Hopewell is going to do for the rest of the season. They've still got a lot of region games to go, and they still definitely have a chance to win out in their region competition, but it's going to be a challenge for them for sure. They've got 2 really, really good players leading their offense, and senior quarterback and returning starter Jacob Burgess. He's really going to have to step up and prove his merit as a pocket passer. He's shown a lot of potential as a pocket passer so far this season, and just as a field general, he's a really vocal quarterback and a really great leader. They've also got a really, really great running back in Deshaun Ziegler coming in, and he's just a reliable rusher, one of the most reliable players that you can have in your backfield for Elmore County. So that's going to be an exciting matchup. Looking forward to see how Hopewell shows out in that one if they manage to show out. Okay, our next one, we're going to talk about Horseshoe Bend. Actually, no, we're going to talk about Kuza at Saks. And Kuza is on a absolute tear right now. They're 3-0. There's a dog in the parking lot. They're 3-0 right now this season. Or not 3-0. They're looking to win their third straight. There's just a dog. I'm sorry. And I was talking to Sam about this game earlier, and he said that Kuza is going to win the playoffs this year. Or not going to win the playoffs, going to win out and make the playoffs this year. This is going to be if they make the playoffs, it will be the first time that they've made it in over 10 years. It's also their homecoming tonight, which is really, really exciting. Saks, on the other hand, Saks has lost 4 games, and the only teams they've beaten is Horseshoe Bend, which is a team that Kuza beat earlier this year by 1 point, I believe. And, you know, Kuza's coach, Kuza's coach Flowers has made some adjustments on the defense since their Horseshoe Bend game, since beating Horseshoe Bend. And it's really worked. At the beginning of the season, they were allowing about 55 points per game, and now they're only allowing about 23 points per game in the last 2 games on defense. So this is going to be a good one. But it should also be telling to see how Kuza is going to do for the rest of the season if they can win out and stay in that number 2 spot and make it to the playoffs this season. Okay, over to the game that I'm currently at. I'm at the beautiful 17 Springs. This is a brand new facility here in Elmore County. It is awesome. You can see the stadium right there behind me, and I'm sure you can hear all the music as well that they're playing. Stanhope Elmore is playing Smith Station, and they first played Smith Station in 1970, and they lost that game 35-0. But out of 14 total meetings, Smith Station has a little bit of an edge over Stanhope Elmore with an 8-7 total win record. However, Stanhope Elmore is looking to even that out tonight with a win. The Mustangs have the advantage, I would say, coming into this game because they've won the last 2 meetings in 2024 and 2021, both in the regular season. They've also faced Smith Station in the playoffs before. That was, you know, back in the day before Smith Station became a 7A school, which they did recently. And I would say this is really credit to just all the potential that Stanhope Elmore has showed against as far as their, you know, just how well-rounded this team is. On offense, they're led by D. Barnes, who, you know, has the most total offensive yards in 6A right now. He's averaging 177 yards per game, a staggering 177 yards per game with 13 total rushing touchdowns. He's leading 6A in touchdowns as well. And he's one of the best running backs in the classification and maybe in the state right now, and he's only a junior. So shout out D. Barnes. The Mustangs also added Davis Fauci to their roster again this year. He was previously at Stanhope Elmore but was out last year with an injury. And he's just added a whole new dimension to Stanhope Elmore. Stanhope Elmore is known for being a running back school, so they've always had really great running backs. But now having a quarterback to, you know, it just adds a new dimension and makes them like a dual threat on offense, when in the past teams only had to worry about, you know, defending the run game. But now they have to, you know, make a decision between, you know, covering the pass or covering the run. And the Mustangs have scored an average of 29 points per game this season so far. But the Smith Station Panthers, on the other hand, have struggled a little bit on offense this season, averaging only 14 points per game. And as a 7A school, they have battled some of the most heavy hitters this season. And so I think this is going to be a really fun game, two really well-matched teams. And this is also homecoming night for the Stanhope Elmore Mustangs, so super duper exciting for them. Yes, lots of homecomings tonight. We will see that trend. Okay, let's talk about Horseshoe Bend now. Horseshoe Bend is playing White Plains. It is also their homecoming tonight. And at this point in the season, Horseshoe Bend needs to win out in order to make it to the playoffs. These two teams have met only, this is going to be the 6th time that these teams are meeting, and Saks is, I believe, 1-4 on meetings with Horseshoe Bend. This is another non-region team, and Horseshoe Bend has not actually won against White Plains since 2007. So that's tough. White Plains also got a new coach this season with Clint Smith. This is the school's 10th football coach. So yeah, Horseshoe Bend, they should be doing their homecoming celebrations tonight. Super exciting. Congrats to everyone who's having homecoming tonight. In the meantime, let's go to another.
Hi, my name is Andrew McGreer. I'm the owner of Dunning Roofing. We serve an area from Birmingham to Montgomery to Auburn to Opelika and all the surrounding Lake Martin area. Well, we've been in business for 25 years almost, and we've been growing every year since then. Recently, we won an award by GAF, who's the largest manufacturer of shingles in the world, and we've achieved a Master Elite status. That Master Elite status is critical, not only for us as a company. Only 2% of roofers worldwide ever achieve this designation. We got it because we're exceptional. We look forward to helping you.
Life's daily battles are not meant to be fought alone.
We're not powerless, so long as we don't lose sight of what's important.
Don't be afraid to seize that moment to talk to your friends,
Cloud, you okay?
because checking in on a friend can create a safe space.
The first step on our new journey. You coming?
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Seize the awkward. It's totally worth it.
Okay, welcome back once again to Inside the Lines. My name is Anna Sophia Meyer, and let me all lower thirds. Yeah, so we've just got a couple more games left for me to preview, and that is our Southern Prep. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a lot about Southern Prep. They are a 8-man football team, so I'm just gonna go through them really quick. Southern Prep is currently 0-5, and they're taking on Heritage Academy, which is an 0-4 team. So as Sam said in his preview, this is the battle of the no-win teams, and so someone has to come out as a winner tonight. Southern Prep has struggled with a limited roster. I believe they've got like 11 people on their team for an 8-man roster, which is really, really tough. Yeah, they've also struggled with some coaching changes this season. Definitely check out all of Sam's coverage on that. It's been very good. So yeah, that's Southern Prep. Moving back to Elmer County, Edgewood is taking on Crenshaw Christian, and I believe that's the only region game that we have to talk about this week. Edgewood is coming back from a bye. And like I said, this is another AISA region game for them. In their last game 2 weeks ago, their offense really came together, and they just started really coming together. The last few weeks of football games, they've really just been coming together as a team under first-year coach Joe Bruton. They beat, I believe it was Hooper Academy, 60-17, and a win tonight will actually have the Edgewood Wildcats tying the total number of wins that they had last season, and it's barely halfway through the season. So that's a huge improvement for the Wildcats. Wildcats are led by Brock Witt, who is a tight end on offense and a outside linebacker on defense. And as far as Crenshaw Christian, last week they lost to Valiant Cross Academy in a high-stakes shootout, 54-48. And Edgewood will be the Cougars' first region game of the season. And Crenshaw's really looking to turn things around, I would say. And Edgewood, on the other hand, is looking to turn their 2-game winning streak into a 3rd game. And yeah, so this has been a dramatic improvement this season so far under a first-year coach. I know Edgewood has made some changes, moved some players around. They formerly had Brock Witt at quarterback, and now they've got Alex Hamby, who's a junior. And they've also got a returner at running back, senior Cam Wright, who had 4 touchdowns for nearly 150 yards in that win against Hoover Academy. So yeah, this is going to be a fun one for Edgewood. Okay, I believe that is all that I have for you guys today. Shout out Dunning Roofing. Thank you so much for watching. And have a good one. As Sam would say, go football. Okay.